For maybe listeners that aren't familiar with you or haven't met you before, what's been your personal and professional journey that ultimately got you to the seat you're in today?
Wow, that could be a pretty long conversation, but I'll try to share a few things about the journey along the way. I grew up in East Tennessee, a place called Johnson City, wonderful town in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains.
That's close to Knoxville, isn't it?
It is close to Knoxville, actually. Yes, about 100 miles away. And I made it to Atlanta, I guess, in the early 90s. And I had a first real job. I'd had jobs, let's say, mowing lawns or working in a warehouse, pulling pallet jacks, stuff like that. But the first real job was as a customer service rep in an international shipping company called Sealand, right down the road from where we're doing this interview. And I had a headset on and a plasma quad screen, and we were shipping ocean containers from places like Norfolk to Bremerhaven. And that was really an education. We hopefully helped our customers a lot. And then somebody came along one day and said, hey, we got to figure out electronic data interchange, EDI. Can somebody help with that? And I ended up being the person who did that. I don't know whether I volunteered or was voluntold, but it worked. And we figured it out. And that was the time where I realized that I hoped for a long, long time my career would involve building things and also tapping into the power of technology to do it. And it's really been the case ever since. So I worked with that company for 4 years in Atlanta, New Jersey, and Boston. Went back to grad school in Charlottesville, and then came back to Atlanta, and I've been here ever since. It's been a wonderful journey with amazing people. Where from there? So I worked with then Anderson Consulting, now Accenture, in their logistics strategy practice, and that seemed like a logical place to be after my experience in international shipping. And then I worked with a couple of related technology-driven companies over in Decatur here in Atlanta, and learned a lot, amazing experience, and it became pretty clear that it would be nice to have not only some great ideas and great customers, but also more predictable cash flow. This was around 2000, 2001. So in early 2001, I started at the Weather Channel in a business development role. And that was what I consider to be the beginning of modern history for me. That was eye-opening. And I worked at the Weather Channel. I was privileged to work there for 8 years, almost entirely focused on the mobile business. And in the beginning, it was so small. It's called wireless. We didn't even call it mobile then. And we had a few pagers in a closet in the back, and we had Blackberries and, what do you call them, candy bar phones and flip phones and whatnot. And we were trying to deliver wireless data to these phones, and we did, and we got better and better at it, and our team discovered more ways to do it, and it turned out that weather was a very natural content category for mobile devices. And we were convinced that mobile would be big someday, and that turned out to be right. And so we went from being kind of a very peripheral part of the business to an up-and-coming and really exciting part of the business to a primary value driver of the company. And then in 2009, I had the opportunity to go to CNN and lead their mobile business worldwide.
Wow.
That was fascinating. At the Weather Channel, we had just launched the Weather Channel's iPhone and Android apps, and those became some of the most downloaded apps in the world. And then I went to CNN. They were already in the process of building an iPhone app, and we launched their applications right as the iPhone was becoming just dramatically more prominent on the scene. And then we launched the Android app. We had a groundbreaking iPad app, but also behind the scenes, we're writing the strategy, building the team, figuring out how we can enhance the brand and whatnot. And we had a real sense of mission around, hey, CNN at the time had, and still in many ways does have, the most extensive news gathering capabilities in the world. And regardless of the news environment, which is a whole different conversation, from the standpoint of connecting people to the things that matter, it was a really incredible opportunity with an amazing organization and a brand. And so did that, and then I'd always had a dream of leading a small company, and I had a chance to do that with a company called LSN Mobile. We got a transaction with Raycom Media with that company, and I was doing some consulting and just helping, and somebody there said, hey, we just invested in a little company. It doesn't even have a name. Would you think about being CEO of that? And we had a conversation. I met with the ABC Disney board member and the Hearst board member and several others. And I was like, oh, that sounds great. The idea was local news nationwide. It turned out to be a company called News On. And within a year, we built it into one of the top 5 providers of news and information on Roku. It was a rocket ship. Really interesting, lots of lessons from there. And then I was there. The company was sold to one of our investors. I worked at Cox Media, which is the ad division of Cox Communications, an amazing company. And many stories there too, one of which in particular is told in the book. And then in August of 2022, I left Cox, and the idea was to take 4 months off. And I thought, I've been working really hard. This is time to take a break, spend time with family, give back more to the community. And about halfway through that time, it occurred to me, that book that I've been thinking about for about 5 years? Maybe now's the time. And then there was another question, well, when's a better time?
Right.
And the answer was there isn't one. And so instead of going to find another talented team and company to work with and build, I decided to take about a year and just focus on this book with the idea of giving back. And one of the core insights was that, hey, building a growth business within a larger organization is a lot different than some other things you can do. Not better or worse necessarily, but a lot different. And I read a lot. I don't see a lot on this that I know how to find. So maybe I can help contribute a little bit to that. And so that's what I've been doing for the past year, and it's been a really amazing journey.